welcome to Daft Souls. I am joined by Stephen Hogarty.
Hello, how's it going?
And by Log, John Log Blythe.
Log to you. Log to you. Hello, I'm Log.
Hello. We're in a slightly more reverberary place than usual this week, so please don't bother pointing this out in the comments on YouTube, because we're aware of that, but it's fine.
Live from a cave.
It's not as bad as the Robot podcast, so it's fine.
Yeah, we've gone spelunking this week, and that's game relevant as a word.
I like Spelunky.
Oh, I do too.
But I didn't like it as much as everybody else liked it.
I liked the slow progress I was made, King. Every game a little bit better, but I hate the monstrous levels of dedication you need to get better, to get as really good as some people do at it.
That's the thing, I just couldn't understand how some people got so good at it. I wasn't playing, I'm like, why?
Well, you've given up the human side of you that is prone to failure or your thoughts drifting away, and you stop thinking, thinking about something else. No, you're a robot if you did all that shit. That guy who killed the ghost spent ages getting it to get hurt by lava.
Took about 3 hours, didn't it?
You are a patient man. You are also a robot. And there's nothing proud in that.
I watched, because again, I couldn't really get very far on Spelunky, but I did love Spelunky, but I watched Tom Francis finish it on his YouTube video, and that was gratifying enough for me to watch someone that I know finish the game and being able to talk interestingly about it as he did.
Did he finish it straight? He did the proper ending, didn't he?
Yeah.
Through the fifth levels as well.
In the final boss, there's a secret door that you can go through.
And you've got to go through all that getting the Ankh and dying on purpose and shit like that.
Yeah, the hell ending, yeah.
My knowledge of Spelunky is built entirely out of that game's specific wiki.
My favourite thing about Spelunky was the fact you can choose whether or not you want to save ladies, men, pugs, or a combination of the three.
Yeah,
and you see, this is when I diverge from most serious Spelunky players, in the fact that I think if you have the lady voices are the easiest to hear. Much like in real life. No, because it has like a more high-pitched noise.
That's true.
If you can go, help, then it's easier to find them and easier to notice when the ones nearby. It's something I've read somewhere and it makes sense. But then, so I think a lot of serious Spelunky players wouldn't play with the mixed up dog, man, lady combination because it's going to be more difficult to hear.
That's fair play.
But I'm like, fuck it, I like...
So if anything, that's really misogynist
it is.
Of them to propose...
It's misandrist.
Yeah.
That they don't want to have male characters in their game.
Well,
why can't men constantly be in peril and need rescuing? What's wrong with us?
Yeah.
Typical. But no, Spelunky's alright. Anyway, a game I have been playing this week.
It's great. I did love that option.
I loved it.
Just the fact that someone showed awareness of the damsel in distress thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do love when there was a coy sort of nod to like the lazy tropiness of like showing awareness of using a trope like that.
Yeah.
I think Sir You're Being Hunted has an option on the main screen. The game by
Jim Rossignol.
And you can change the name of the game from Sir to Madam You Are Being Hunted.
Yes,
which is just change the entire name of the game to be gender neutral. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, still defaults to Sir though. Misogynist.
That is
true. Sir Being Hunted, like I like that, but I can't. I think it's one of those games where I couldn't get into it. You know, I enjoyed it as an experience, but I think it's like I could never foresee myself being any good at it.
I haven't played it yet. I really want to have a go at it.
I wouldn't say it's fun, but that's just me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it terrified me. Like, it really frightened me in a good way. It was like, it reminded me of that kind of like Radio 4 drama, you know, like that kind of, it had something about the intro. It has this weirdly bleak delivery, slightly kind of cheesy audio effects on it. And then you're in this kind of bleak English landscape. It very much reminded me of creepy 1980s Radio 4 channel stuff, but it's just really intensely frightening.
I like the fact that the visuals of the game reminded you of Radio 4.
Yeah.
that's something.
I guess like not just the Radio 4, I guess it reminds me of Radio 4 dramas because now that's the only place that you still get that feel of things, but it used to be
the received pronunciation of it all then.
No, it wasn't that. It was the audio effects.
Because as someone who hasn't played it, when you say the received pronunciation, is it very much clipped monarchical English? Welcome to the tutorial of Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
It's more...
very aristocratic.
Yes, it has a thing in the intro, basically. It has this thing where it says, "Oh, and sir, do be careful, sir. You are being hunted." And it's a wonderful intro. It says, "Oh, I'm sure you'll manage to find yourself something to eat out there, but do be careful."
This is... To explain, you are, I think, you're an inventor whose invention has gone wrong and you've been teleported to an archipelago of islands.
Yeah.
And you have to retrieve all the parts of your machine to teleport back to where you live. And it's your assistant who's doing the voiceovers.
Yes.
But he's weirdly sinister. He says, "Yeah, do be careful. You are being hunted."
Yeah.
And it's like,
it has this, he basically says, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine." He says, "If everything goes to plan, we should have everything sorted out before dinner." But it's kind of, there's the effects that they've put on the audio has this slight warble to it, combined with this slightly kind of dread-filled ambient noise. It just feels very much like a kind of creepy Radio 4. I don't know,
I honestly love the sound of that. I mean, I'm going to...
The problem is...
Is it on early access or something?
No, it's out now. It's out
now. Bloody hell, I am... God, you leave the games industry for 3 weeks and you forget everything.
But it's been, it's one of those things where I want to like it more, want to enjoy it more than I do, because I love the intro so much. It's so, frightening.
it's a really good sandbox, I think. But I don't think it can really expand the appeal over a full game. Like, getting all of the pieces of your invention back together. It needs to be a few more varied objectives, I think.
I enjoy the experience of it, but I don't feel compelled to complete it. Because what I enjoy about it is getting a few of the pieces and then finding myself getting into a pickle and getting killed. And I kind of step away from it going, "That was amazing." Often my heart's pounding and I'm like, "That was so exciting." But I don't know if I want to I don't know if I want to do it again, over and over again, until I beat it.
I mean, how varied is it? Because I don't... So a game like Don't Starve is another game that I haven't played enough of yet. I've downloaded it, started playing it for an hour, then, I don't know, went for a walk or something. I don't know. But from what I hear from other people talking about Don't Starve is you'll always find something different every time. Whereas my mental notes of another game I haven't played, basically, I'm showing how good I am at talking about games I haven't played.
Why are you leaving the games industry?
I'm going to review these games right now. But what I hear about Sir, You're Being Hunted, the feel of it is that it's not quite as anything could happen.
No, basically it's procedurally made, obviously, but then you always get a good view of what's coming up. You know, I've seen some screenshots of stuff that I'm like, wow, that's the kind of crazy stuff that doesn't really relate to what I've played, but I just love the fact that, I don't know, I think it was Jim Russell, one of the creators, who was like, when I was talking about wanting to, I was making a joke about UKIP or something, about wanting to go and, I'm really in the mood for gunning down some authoritarian dictators. He's like, you always try killing some robots and show you being hunted. It's like, I can't kill them. Even when I've had guns in that, I cannot kill them. But it's just the fact that I've had some incredibly horrible moments just going into towns, because what it works is a lot of it is just kind of in the main areas is sort of the expanse of British countryside. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically square fields with hedges,
occasional clumps of poplar trees.
Yeah, it's kind of messy. It's not. If you're in America, America does a really fucking good job of putting things into proper squares in terms of both streets and landscape and stuff. Whereas we're really not good at that.
Really, go onto Google Earth and check out our fields.
They're a mess.
Because they're not grids at all. They're just nonsense.
So it's like that. It's basically you have mile hills. And what's lovely is that you can see the robots from a long way away because they have this kind of red glow from their eyes. And it does that kind of, Schindler's List style thing of having nothing else that is red. It's everything else is quite dull, dim, green, grey, and then...
Are you saying that little Jewish girl was a murderous robot? Because if you are, you are.
Guilty as charged.
You are Hitler.
I am Hitler. Finally, I've been unveiled. I've just been waiting for someone to say those magic words. You are Hitler.
Now do the summoning spell, and the Fourth Reich will arise.
The game is up, Sherlock. No, I'm not Hitler. But...
That was a letdown.
I'm sorry, I know, right? What an anticlimax. But I've had some bits where you just find yourself in a town and you can hear the robots nearby. And you can basically, a lot of the time you can't have weapons, you can just throw things to make distractions. And I just threw a bottle, expecting all of the robots to run over to where the bottle was. And they kind of did a bit, but then they all started coming around and they knew that something was up. And I just heard them getting closer and closer, walking, and they kind of talk with, like, they say British things, but with a very robot-y voice, like, you know, we got to find this blighter and stuff, but with a massive kind of like, got to find this blighter, where is he? And it's just, it's weird and scary. And just knowing they're getting closer and closer, and all you can do is just hide in this bush and just hope they don't see you. And I mean, maybe it's kind of a weird thing because it's a bit like the way I used to feel with the original XCOM, and the fact that I'm aware that there is a way to be good at this. And I'm aware that becoming good at it requires you to become a bit of a robot, as we were saying with Spelunky in a way.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't want to, because I enjoy my experience being that I feel like I'm doing quite well. And then I find myself so fucked. Like, so fucked.
So is the AI that hard to read then, that you're not quite sure what's powering it?
I think the things they say, it plays a lot like DayZ, in that you have towns where lots of resources are, but you don't want to go into them because that's also where the aristocratic blunderbuss wielding robots roam. Okay,
so that's another thing. As a man who hasn't played it, my image of the game was that it was all rolling countryside. I didn't realise there was city areas.
There's small towns. You can't go into any buildings. There's no building interiors.
I think that's the smartest. I mean, it's probably to make it easier, but I think the smartest thing about it is you can't go inside buildings. Right? Yeah. The way it works is you get these little either one-off big buildings like churches or sometimes castle ruins, but mostly little towns and things. And when you go to a town, towns are great because every single door, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a building, but every door that you spot, you can go up and you can press E on it and it'll have items, like random items, and you might get weapons or food or, you know, something to throw as distractions or items or useful stuff.
Oh, so you ransack a house by clicking on the door?
Yes, but what's nice is it means that basically it's like they can be treasure troves, and sometimes you can come away with amazing stuff. Like you come away with loads of weapons, loads of pies, and it's all really British. Like you can get like pots of tea and
a fish finger.
I think actually all the art for the inventory stuff was done by Marsh Davis.
Oh, nice!
Which is like, it's really, really nicely done.
Marsh Davis he's a lovely fucking illustrator.
I've not met him many times in my life, but he's a talented man, very, very talented. But yeah, it's a great risk thing in the fact that going near the towns puts you in substantial danger. And I like the fact you can't go into the buildings because it doesn't present you with any form of safety. Usually you think going to a town would provide you with some safety because even if there's loads of monsters, you can go and hide in a building. You can go and create a choke point, maybe. But actually, because these doors are nothing more than these 2D objects that you just click on and get items, it means that if you get into trouble, you've got nowhere to hide. You just need to run and try and hide behind a bush in a field like nearby.
That's cool, because I just remember thinking from a long time ago, I think it was GTA that I'm thinking, like the Vice City, you could go into some of the buildings.
Yeah.
And I thought the idea is that one day you'll be able to go in all the buildings. And then I remember being like really excited when I went back and played Omicron the Nomad Soul, because it was a game where you could go into all the buildings, and then you realise, yeah, this is all really boring. It's like, no one's going to design all buildings to have like interesting stuff in them.
And it's more the fact that it takes away any sense of security. Like you don't feel like, well, it might not be safe there, but at least I can hide under a table or something. It's like, no, like when you're in a town, you're basically just hiding behind a couple of blocks and there'll be lots of them around looking for you and you've got nowhere to hide. Like, but you do have some lovely moments. Like I had some bits where I saw like one was like a robot. I realised they had dogs as well, because I hadn't played it for a long time after I played it when I first came out in alpha, and they'd added loads of stuff and it was like different types of robots. When I saw a group of robots with hunting rifles running around behind following a robot dog, I was just like, wow! It really, really frightens me, just because they do kill you so efficiently, like when they've seen you. You just all you can do is just sprint across the field, try and lose that line of sight, and then try and hide. But often it's like, yeah, you're just going to get gunned down by robots. But I love the way that occasionally you find letters and notes in the houses and stuff, and it just gives you this sense of like something having gone horribly wrong. It's like post-apocalyptic. The humans definitely did exist here at some point, but you don't know how long ago exactly. And you know that the robots, for whatever reason, have murdered them all. There's at one point that you start to find like letters that are like written by the robots. One of them is like, "It is your dear Auntie Sandra. Like, I've just come back from. I know I was missing for a while. It's because I was on holiday in Tenerife." And it's like clearly like it's like, "Do come back home immediately. It is completely safe." And it's like it's all in full caps, and it's like this is blatantly written by a robot.
And that letter in particular says, "P.S. Please swallow this letter upon reading."
Yeah. Yeah, so it's. I kind of find it really frustrating as a game though, because I love it. I love the theme. I love the idea, but it's
hard to play for more than 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah, because it is it's like a roguelike crossed with a kind of FPS stealth game. I just think it's very difficult. I think to be good at first person stealth games, like I always struggle with that. I struggled with that with Dishonored. I liked it, but I found it difficult. I was always getting spotted because.
It's so hard to judge and learning enemies' cones of vision without seeing them on a mini map.
Yeah,
it's just like it's not something that I find fun to learn.
That's the thing, but it's one of those things where it's fun to play because I enjoy the process. I enjoy dying. I enjoy the fear of being like, have they seen me? Have they seen me? And it's kind of sometimes because the way they move erratically, sometimes you do see them moving around quite quickly and you just think, oh shit, I've been spotted. And you end up running and hiding and you're like, no, you haven't, that's fine. Like, that kind of have I been seen or not? Because they do move around the map oddly and sometimes you'll see loads of robots just running towards you and you're like, oh fuck. And it's like, they're not actually, they're just running in your direction. Like, they're not.
When I last played it, they had, like small hot air balloons that would sort of float around the countryside. These huge sort of spotlights that would like cast massive swathes, like pools of light over these fields that you might be hiding in. And they could turn around so quick. So even when you are far away from a town and you think that you're safe from like just robots wandering up to you, you'll see this thing on the horizon, like shining a spotlight everywhere, like floating in your direction.
I think it's a really difficult puzzle, that game, because I agree with what you said about like it needs more objectives, it needs more things to do. But the problem is like I'm glad that the things to do aren't like different ways to kill robots and stuff. It does keep itself quite refined in the idea that you are being hunted by robots and you have to do this.
Can you kill the robots?
You can, but it's hard. Like the problem is it's very rare that you just have one of them. So I've managed on a couple of occasions to maybe kill one or maybe 2 out of 3, but then the third one will kill you. Like that's the things I wonder if you get really good, you might be able to, but I wasn't good enough. I'm not very good at it.
Certainly, it's not a way to play the game.
No.
You go around killing all of the robots.
No,
the ammunition is very limited. And
well, a lot of games, they just don't find guns. A lot of games you just, times I played, like you find maybe a gun with 1 bullet in it, and it's like, it has not much use.
Right.
But it does feel like, it's just a bit kind of full on, constantly intense. And it's like, I'm glad they didn't make it being like, hey, now you've got a good gun, you can kill some robots, because that might have spoiled it, but...
Oh, wow, you found a mech! Let's go and fuck shit up!
But I think most really, really good roguelikes...
That was my F.E.A.R 2, I think that was, wasn't it?
F.E.A.R 2, F.E.A.R 2 did that well, didn't it?
Yeah. Here's
F.E.A.R 2.
Stop being scared. Here, have a mech for a while. Oh, here's the step, the mech can't go up. Sorry.
Oh, and all the spooky ghost stuff just beyond this.
Yeah. Welcome to the primary school level.
Get a mech in here.
That was particularly trite, that. It was like... But actually, I really like F.E.A.R 2.
Oh, F.E.A.R 2 was ace. I mean, the primary school levels also had loads of stuff hidden in it that was telling you how the children were being taught and how it fit in with the whole corporate shit going on.
It had a really good story, the F.E.A.R universe. The idea behind it was quite good.
Yeah,
I think F.E.A.R 2 is definitely... I mean, F.E.A.R 3, I saw bits of it. I think that was when I was out, except F.E.A.R 3 came in, and it looked like a bit of a mess.
I couldn't be asked playing F.E.A.R 3 because
I didn't.
Of the whole the Paxton Fettel as playable character thing, wasn't
It
it?
just felt weak, yeah.
Yeah.
But the F.E.A.R. 2 was incredible. Was it F.E.A.R. 2 or was it F.E.A.R. 1 with the moment where you realise you're in an underground facility?
F.E.A.R. 2, that's F.E.A.R. 2. Where the sort of the windows kind of flicker and you think,
man.
this, oh God, I'm not where I think I am.
It's a criminally underplayed game, that thing, I think, F.E.A.R. 2. Like, because even on its own, like, it was almost one of those things where even though it was a sequel, I actually played F.E.A.R. 2 before I played F.E.A.R. And going back to play F.E.A.R. like added some backstory, and I quite enjoyed that. But I still actually really enjoyed the story in F.E.A.R. 2, just as a thing of just dropping you into something and going, a nuclear explosion has just happened in this city, everything's going mental. And it was just like, you really didn't know what was going on, but you were a soldier being dropped off to do something, and then there were like ghosts and shit. I kind of liked the fact that clearly you were supposed to have played the original game because it was sort of very much like, it felt like a sequel, but at the same time, it was kind of pleasantly confusing. You were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I love that feeling.
Was it? Sorry, F.E.A.R. 2 or F.E.A.R. 3 that ended in the
Sexual assault.
the sexual assault?
That's F.E.A.R. 2, yeah.
So that's F.E.A.R. 2, yeah, definitely.
That was bizarre.
It was, but yeah. Yeah, it just was. No, it just was. It just was.
Yeah.
There's no but there, really. It was fucking mental.
And then in the credit sequence, I think you saw the fetus, right? It was like,
Yes,
at post credits, like, ooh.
Oh, is that going to be the protagonist or the bad guy in the next game?
You've done a spooky baby.
Still, no, I had some amazing moments going down to the epicenter of that when you were like dropping down into the crater of some mental epicenter, and the bit where you actually discover the playground. This is all massively, massively spoilery things, but
Well, it's not. It's vaguely put enough that people will go. People will easily forget the words you just said.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're
When you
right.
say, just go and play F.E.A.R., then F.E.A.R. 2. Then don't bother with
actually,
F.E.A.R. 3.
F.E.A.R.'s like all right. I mean, it was like clearly an old game.
The AI in that game was incredible because, well, they did tricks to make it look incredible. Like the enemies would push over like fire chests of drawers and stuff, and filing cabinets, and jump behind them. And I think it seems to have gone backwards since then. Like, enemies don't do clever things anymore, do they?
Well,
it's just
the AI
like-
thing is mental.
Just the whole thing from the days when you'd overhear something that made you, well, they said, oh, he's thrown a grenade, quick, run over here.
But yeah, it did have like, I thought as well, just the pacing of F.E.A.R. In terms of the combat. F.E.A.R. and F.E.A.R. 2 both did that wonderful thing of giving you, like weapons that were genuinely really good weapons, like shotguns that would tear people apart and pistols that just felt good.
There was that laser gun that would slice right through them as well. You
Yeah.
get one and a half in just the right way.
I mean, I was kind of like,
In just the right way. So they're oven ready.
I always used to think the FPS test, especially, it doesn't really count anymore for FPS has changed so much now. I kind of feel a bit out of touch with it, with the whole online thing. But it used to be that you would have this sort of escalation of weapons throughout the campaign, and there would be a period where you'd have just the pistol for like maybe the first hour of the game. But no, it's not true. First 10, 20 minutes. But I always felt that was a sign of a good game. A sign of a good FPS is they gave you a pistol that you were like, I fucking love this pistol. I could use this pistol for hours, and then give you a shot and you're like, this is even better. But a good pistol, like making a pistol feel badass. And I seem to remember the F.E.A.R. games did that well.
I think we mentioned Wolfenstein a few.
Yes.
The few episodes I've been on of Daft Souls, we've been talking about Wolfenstein.
Well, we were going to talk about it last time, well, a couple of times ago, but with Brendan, because Brendan really doesn't like it, but we'll have to find out why another time. He's not here.
That game gives you a Luger first. You go, this Luger's fantastic. I'm amazed the Nazis didn't win with incredible Lugers.
I think we should go back in time and have a rematch.
I mean, on the way to your house here tonight, I was listening to Chet and John's Finite playlist, and they did bring up one thing that made me remember the bits of Wolfenstein where I thought, oh, for fuck's sake. And it was a bit where you have to go around the home base. Well, not home base. Obviously, that's a Sainsbury's offshoot.
Yes,
the home nest.
It's like a B&Q.
Yeah, basically it was something. And you had to go and find some mouldy concrete. And what aisle's that in?
Yeah, the stuff on the inside the base was like, that was rubbish.
I haven't actually got that far yet, but I mean,
Well, there's several home levels where you have to. It just feels like you're rummaging around a small area with willfully obscurely hidden things.
just because she's in a wheelchair. She's perfectly capable of wheeling herself down to the helicopter when she wants to.
Yeah, she fucking she did a parachuted into a helicopter and landed on the floor. So
Yeah.
Actually, that scene was cool though. I can't fault that scene.
And fair enough, if she has paraglided into
she paraglided.
base,
To be fair, her disability was implicit in the para of paragliding.
Yes, and I will pick her up and put her in a helicopter in that situation. But I will not.
I'm sorry.
Her tell me to go find some mouldy concrete.
But I loved it when it says, "I'm sorry about your legs." With "Don't be. I've learned to fly."
Yeah, I was
and then the music happens, and you go, "I'm playing a very, very tolerant game."
I've learned to fly. Well, you've literally just stolen a helicopter.
Yeah, we can all steal helicopters, love.
This is video games land. We've all done that shit.
And how is she doing the yaw controls on a helicopter without working legs? If anyone knows how helicopters work, yaw controls are on pedals down by your feet.
Don't presume to know the yaw controls of a fictional universe Nazi Britain.
Yeah, Steve.
Fine. They're not going to deviate much from something that works, right?
To Britain, I'm excited. I really want to play more Wolfenstein. I haven't had any time to do so, but I've got to the bit just after the start where you kind of first kind of have a whole bit where you come out of a coma and stuff. So I thought, I'm consistently very impressed by it in the early stages, just being like, this is all really well done. Like, for a silly game. I literally bought it expecting I'm going to buy a silly game, shoot some Nazis. It's like, shit, this is actually really good.
It's really it's very pulpy and very sort of Max Payne.
Yeah.
Monologue-y.
Just even the way it does the kind of sped up thing of just being a cutscene of this is you in the same room sitting in a corner in a coma for a long time.
Thing, yeah.
A time lapse of a mental hospital.
That probably took some effort, that.
Yeah, it's that was really good. And even just the bit where you have to I get what you mean about going around the base though, because already I had that bit where I had to threaten a Nazi officer with a chainsaw. And it was this thing of he was just sitting there going, please, don't, I'll give you whatever you want.
All you got to do is look around this tiny room for 3 things.
3 interactive objects.
Yeah. And then it's surprisingly hard.
Yeah, that's
you imagine that over 7 or 8 rooms where you're thinking, this has been deliberately designed so I don't remember where things are.
Yeah. I just felt awkward. I was just like, oh God, this guy knows I'm going to physically torture him. I know I'm going to physically torture him. Yeah. But I'm just trying to look cool.
He's sitting in his...
remember where I put all of the things.
I don't need to fucking protect myself from spatter.
Yeah.
The amount of shit I've been through already, a little bit of Nazi blood in my eyes won't be the worst thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
I guess it's just about psyching him out, but it's annoying how it's it makes you look like an idiot. I didn't like that because it was I look like an idiot now because I don't know.
They should have taken advantage of that and saying, you don't even know what the things you are that you need to kill me.
Yeah.
You don't even know what to click.
You don't know what to click, you prick.
So why would you be afraid of Nazi blood? If there's any group of people who were not going to have blood-borne diseases, it's the Nazis.
Yeah.
They'd stamp that out at birth.
They wouldn't have it.
That's sort of their deal.
That's what they're all about. Yeah. So, I'd say actually a game that does break the fourth wall a lot that I've been playing on the recommendation of Steve, actually. And it was a combination of the recommendation from you from 2 years ago. I've been sitting on a big chicken.
Recommendation chicken.
Yeah, waiting for that recommendation egg to hatch. And also the fact that I was so bemused by the end of Nintendo's E3 thing where they went, just one more thing, you can play as Palutena in Smash Brothers. And I was like, who the fuck gives a shit about one of the characters from Kid Icarus being a playable character? And then I was so intrigued, I was like, I want to find out why. And yeah, sure enough, Palutena. I'm I don't think she'll be an interesting character in Smash Brothers, but she's a brilliant character.
Oh, yeah.
She's so good. I'm kind of really gutted that Kid Icarus came out on the 3DS at that period where everyone was still 3DS? Fuck off, mate.
Yeah,
because it's because of the nature of when games come out and you have that window of opportunity for a game to be big and then it just gets kind of forgotten forever. It totally didn't deserve that because it's so good.
Steve, you were working on official Nintendo when that came out, weren't you?
Yes, I
reviewed
it.
You were openly saying how brilliant it was.
I reviewed the Billy Bollocks of it and gave it a very high score.
Yeah, and that's why
I absolutely adored it. So it's it's a game with two halves, really.
It's a game with two halves.
It's like
Did you use that phrase in your review? Because
it's good. It's snappy. Somebody write that down. A game of two halves.
It can be useful to describe things.
Half of it is running around on foot, using admittedly quite awkward camera controls that you can get good at and figure out how it works. But when you first start using it, it's very difficult to control.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after that, it's like a Sin and Punishment style flying through space, like almost like a Star Fox thing where you're using the touchpad to point at things on the screen and shoot them. But I just love the cartoon styling of it and the voice acting.
I just love it. Yeah,
it's like kids' TV, but it's really well written. Funny, it's really funny.
That's from the 3 or 4 hours I played of it, and because my DS was gone astray. I remember really enjoying the writing in a way that I don't normally in many video games.
The best way, I think, it's like Adult Swim kind of cartoon thing, but with none of the rudeness.
Yeah. Oh, that's
just lovely. It's such a lovely game to play.
It's brilliantly funny.
I remember even wanting to watch the cartoon, because they have done full-length cartoons.
Oh, really?
Of Kid Icarus now, online. And when Kid Icarus showed up at the end of the Smash Brothers thing at the Nintendo E3 presentation, I was like, it's Kid Icarus, and he's doing all these things. I just love the character, and I love
and that's the thing. I kind of came away from it being like, I don't get this. I don't get why people think anyone cares about it. And then I was like, oh no, actually, it's really, really good. Like, even the use of comic timing, because it's like, I don't know, it just shows you how wrong you can be about making simple judgments, and the fact that I hate it when you play any game where you've got characters babbling over stuff constantly. So you're just having the action, you're shooting stuff, you're fighting, and the main characters are just incessantly talking to each other.
Yeah.
Usually, I'd be the first person to say, let's just take that thing from games and destroy it forever. Let's just never have that in games ever.
But in Kid Icarus, that's the amazing thing.
It's like they just constantly talk about the whole level. Basically, it means that while you're playing this quite admittedly intense and difficult, often like action game, the characters are having conversation. But as you say, the scripting is incredible. The voice acting is brilliant. So much so that a lot of it is based on replay value.
Yeah.
And I end up playing through, basically listening to the same dialogue like 4 or 5 times. And it's still good. It's like, at no point do I go, oh, I've heard this so many times. I'm just like, this is still funny.
It's got a really great, talking about how difficult the game can be. It's got that amazing mechanic where you can, before you start each level, you can dial up from 0.nothing up to 10.nothing. So 0 to 100. You can dial in the level of challenge. And the higher up you go, the more reward you get.
You gamble as well.
You're basically gambling the number of hearts that you have. At the start of each level.
Yeah, so you spend your currency in order to make the level more difficult, but then you'll get better rewards for doing so. But then every time you get killed during the mission, you don't fail the mission, you just go down by 1 click of difficulty.
Yeah, they knock you down and
60 to 50.
You lose some of the hearts that you gambled.
So it literally shows you this bucket, this big cauldron of hearts that you've bet, and it pours some of them out and goes, you've lost them, carry on. And it's just great because it really encourages you to be play more. But that's such a brilliant idea.
That talk of really open and rewarding gambling in games just reminds me of... Did you ever play Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land?
No, but I've heard many interesting things about it.
It's just the least satisfying... Did you ever play it, Steve?
No, I haven't.
It was just the least satisfying gambling mechanic because you'd haggle blind and you'd suggest a certain amount of things you wanted to pay for something. And they go, yes. You go, oh, well, fuck, I probably wasted some rupees on that. Or they'd say no. And you go, oh, well, I wonder how many I needed. It was the most... You learn nothing from that game. All you do is go through it with a constant feeling of having been cheated by an invisible spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So what you're saying there, that you gamble this amount of stuff and you learn immediately. That's fun.
It's just,
it's great. The game does track how good you are at it.
Yeah,
when you start a game, it will default it. If you think this is the level of challenge that will just be fun for you to play, you can make it easier. or you can make it more challenging for yourself. But this is where we reckon that you're at.
And then it learns. It's like, we reckon, it's like, try this. Like, how about try this difficulty? But then the higher difficulty has like randomized drops to a degree that have like, so it's like, there's almost reminds me of, what is it?
Borderlands thing almost.
A bit like Borderlands or like Earth Defense Force. Like, being like, you play on higher difficulties, you'll get like better weapons, which will then make it easier to play on high difficulties. But it's like, it's really intense on the high difficulties. And as you say, the control scheme, especially on the ground, like the kind of Star Fox thing is quite easy. But when you're on the ground, the complexity of the control system, at first I was like, I don't fucking like this at all. But after playing it for like 6 or 7 hours, I'm getting really good at it. And you realise it's a really good control system.
You can really turn around very quickly and snap it. It's the way I thought of it in my head was like, it's like the bottom screen of is you are spinning a globe. It
actually says that in the game at one point.
Oh yes, so, that's how they describe it.
And when they clicked for me when they said that, because again, what I love about it is the fact the characters constantly break the fourth wall, and lots of people talking refer to it as a game.
Yeah,
and refer to.
It's fantastic bits later on when like Pit starts like referencing other Nintendo games, and other guys like, what are you talking about? There's been this famously. The Metroids from Metroid, those tentacled creatures, they're in it, and they were in the original Kid Icarus on the NES, and they just basically reused that sprite in Metroid, but Nintendo never referenced the fact that they'd taken an enemy from one game and used it as the main enemy from like another game, but until Kid Icarus on 3DS, where they come out and they say it, and Kid Icarus goes, that reminds me of, they're looking at one of these Metroids, and they're called something else in Kid Icarus. That reminds you of an enemy from another game. What is it? It's and like the overworld character at that point is like, don't say it. Like, don't say where this is from.
We don't say zombies in a zombie movie.
That's exactly what it's like. Yeah.
And again, it's the fact that because all of the enemies in the game are like these 3D detailed versions of enemies, which were just enemies on a NES game. It kind of. They're all nonsense. Like, because obviously back in those days, like when you had enemies in video games, they were like just weird sprites that people had drawn because they would look funny. Like, one of the enemies is just like, you know, those fake like, faces you get with the glasses and the big noses that you wear with the moustache. Like one of those, it's just one of those, but it's floating. And it's like a big 3D nose and glasses and moustache. And it's mental.
Has fantastic little throwbacks to the 8-bit version as well. Like when you die, it just plays the original 8-bit like death tune, and you have like lots of little pixel art things as well. It's just such a lovely
it doesn't feel like it's trying to be like fan service though, because I don't know anything about the original game. And I love the fact like one of the bosses I've just done, it's like it basically just says, oh yeah, this boss, like he's called this. Back in the original game, he was just he was a boss that he just lived on the head of Medusa. But he's like, but now, you know, he's like he does all sorts of things. He's like an amazing disguise. So he's always changing his image up and stuff. And it's basically just going like, this is a character from the original game, but we just completely changed him. And it's just there's just no like reference. And even like the whole section with it's just one of those games where it sounds really. It sounds like a ridiculous box quote, but it's just so like relentlessly generous with ideas and art styles. I just got a level I've just done before. Is the whole thing where you're in the maze of confusion. It's like being in Tron or something. It's like you just completely just keep going. Oh, now we're going to go here, and it's kind of a completely different art style and
really
it's completely mental. And it's so very, very good. It's kind of upsetting that despite the glowing recommendation you gave me 2 years ago, it's taken me 2 years to play it, and B, it's kind of got a bit lost. Like,
well, I hate being one of those people who says of Nintendo games, oh, they should go third party. I'm like, they should absolutely not go third party.
We talked about it last time you were on,
and just people say, oh, it's a shame more people don't play it. It's like, well, if you want to play it, buy a 3DS and play it.
Yeah.
Don't be go, oh, if it was on Vita, I'd play it. Well, then why did you buy a Vita?
It is incredible. I was kind of, it wasn't what I expected at all. Like as a game, I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but it's just, it's really funny. It's really creative. It's really varied, but also like it's.
I've still got my cart. I'm going to get it out.
I'm
going to go home right now. I'm going to cut this podcast short and go home and play it. Should you, readers?
Even the way you can just like flick on the screen and like. Each weapon is like vastly varied, and you can like, trigger different special attacks just by different movements. And
you have to choose the weapon that you come into each level. You have to choose which weapon you're going to take.
Yeah.
There's like 12 different archetypes, I think, maybe 9. And some of the, like, they're all different. You have like swords that do slashes right in front of you, swords that fire like bullets out. You have like big fists things that you wear and you punch things, and staves and things, and staves is the plural of staff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that just varies everything up.
I think it's a sign of a good game as well, and the fact that when you find yourself doing that thing of being like, I'm not going to go to level 3 just yet. I'm just going to try that same level again on a high difficulty.
Yeah.
And it's like that for me is like the fact that it does that kind of toying with your brain mechanically, being like, how hard can you do it? You'll get better things. You'll get better things, and still having like a game which is just incredibly charming and funny. It's just class. It's properly class. And Palatina is brilliant. I love that she's just constantly fucking with you.
She's like a big sister, like teasing all the time.
She's just making shit up. She just lies to you constantly. And there's some incredible comic timing at times. So sometimes Pip asks her a question and it doesn't say anything for 5 seconds, and you kind of, because you know how video games work, you kind of think, oh, that's weird. I wonder if it's like, because there's been a weirdly long gap in the conversation. You think, it seems like a fuck up. And then
just
like,
haven't hit a trigger maybe in the game yet that makes her reply.
Yeah, precisely. But then it's like, Pit's like, I'm guessing by the fact that you're not saying anything that it's like, oh, we'll work it out. Just keep going. It's like, it's very, very good. And that's it for this week's Dark Souls. A bit of an abrupt end, no questions, and a bit shorter than usual this week, but as you can probably tell from the setup, it's a bit more ad hoc than usual, so it's fine. It's fine. But we will be returning next week, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And do go and play some of those games. They're all good. We've talked about some good games, haven't we? Good games. F.E.A.R 2 probably costs less than a banana these days.
Yeah, I can't remember. It felt like we only talked about 2 games, but there were a couple of interjection games there.
We did some Spelunky. We did some F.E.A.R 2.
So You're Being Hunted.
So You're Being Hunted. Kid Icarus.
Don't bother too much with Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, though.
You just made that sound fucking irritating.
It was annoying, and also the music is quite haunting. Every time you go into the hometown, it's like this weird tooting of a tugboat, and it makes your skin feel sad playing it.
Well, that's a box quote if ever I saw one. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.